What's up, everybody? Back for day 4 of training camp. Packers are back in the building and back with not with the pads on, but it's not a walkthrough today. Let's say that. So, sorry. I'm just so excited. Every day is more exciting than the next. It means we're getting one day closer to the start of the season, which is September 11th, my birthday, which is pretty awesome. Every year, Packers try to win that first game for me. Last year, they kind of got their butt kicked, but well, I guess I'd like to see how many game ones they win over history, but it's always kind of around my birthday, which makes it exciting. Yes, it is September 11th, which kind of sucks, but that is also my birthday, so it is what it is. So, but anyway, Packers back today. The following will be, they have off tomorrow, Sunday, which will be the 31st, and then they'll have practice again August 1st, 2nd, and the 4th, open to the public, and I will be doing videos about those as well. But today they're back for day 4. Yesterday was a walkthrough. Obviously not as intense yesterday. You don't get to see as much of the action or any action at all. It's hard to really judge players at all because most of them aren't doing anything except for walking. The only upside to yesterday was seeing Sammy Watkins back, which I could not be more excited about. Just seeing him out there, getting guys like Randy Ramsey back to, it helps a lot, just getting everybody out on the field. And Rasheed Walker and then Akil Byers. But I was so excited to see Sammy Watkins back. He looks good. He looks fluid. He looks quick. He looks like he's ready. I just really enjoy seeing guys who want to be here, who want to play. I think we only gave him like a 1-year, $4 million deal. He's kind of on a prove-it year. And I think if he does really well, he'll be gone no matter what because the Packers won't pay him. But it's a chance for him to revitalize his career. It's pretty much his last chance. He might get a job somewhere else if he doesn't succeed here. But, he is 28. Devontae's 29, so he's you're younger. He doesn't have the miles like Devontae has, and he's got really good talent. Just the speed, the size. If you look back at his first 2 years in Buffalo, well, his rookie year was not great, but it wasn't bad either for a rookie. I think he had like 500 yards, which is a lot. And then his second year, he almost had 1,000. I don't think he's ever broken 1,000 yards his whole career, but he looked really good early on, and then the injuries just started catching up to him. But the games he plays, when you watch him play, even when he was a Chief, you saw him make some plays here and there. When they asked him to, he wasn't always able to be out there, so he wasn't always able to make plays. But anyway, seeing him back yesterday was great. He is obviously back today as well. But again, the number one standout from camp again today, Romeo Doubs, continues to stand out, catching passes, running routes, contested catches. Even on an outside run, he was blocking downfield for Aaron Jones. Working, like I said yesterday, working with the 1s, the 2s, the 3s. He had an amazing catch from Danny Etling today. I don't think Etling will be on the roster, but it's just awesome to see Doubs is able to put it on the field with anyone that they ask him to. It just shows that he is a true player, a true gamer, and he is ready to take over. Seeing him be able to block just was the icing on the cake. I figured he could at his size and strength and his tenacity. He just wants to be that guy. He wants to be great. And he came in, and as soon as I heard him talk for the first time, I'm like, yep, he's ready. This is the guy. I saw some tape out of him at Nevada. Just was like, okay, I really believe in this kid right away off the bat. And so far, he has backed me up every step of the way, which, is great for the Packers. But it's awesome. It's awesome just to be able to see that and be able to kind of, be one of the first on the Doubs bandwagon, because I really thought he had what it took right away as soon as I started watching him. He even was on punt return too. I know they had Rico Gafford on kickoff return, but watching Romeo on punt return, it was really windy, really crazy, and Cobb even muffed one or two. I think he didn't even get close to one. I think, and then Romeo had no trouble, just boom. So something to watch for. This Romeo Doubs character, this guy is going to be something special. His numbers might not translate completely year one because they might run the ball a lot. Rodgers might, stick with Cobb and Lazard a lot, when it counts. And it's going to be a lot of defensive battles, I think, early on. But don't be surprised if Doubs has over 1,000 yards this year. Don't be surprised if he has upwards of 70, 80 catches. And don't be surprised if he is in the running for Rookie of the Year, because I think he is that good. And with all that comes team success, and with all that comes, he could make the Pro Bowl. But with him doing good, that means that Rodgers is doing well probably, and he's probably not the only receiver doing well. And it just all kind of carries over to the next guy, and it's just having him be so far ahead of where he might have been, or where they thought he could be. Allows these other guys to kind of give them the chance to develop. It's not putting so much pressure on all these different players, because he's able to kind of take some of that slack and kind of just be that guy. Because now if they have Lazard, Cobb, Watkins, and Doubs, that's a solid 4. I mean, Cobb's a little old, but he's still can run routes, can still play. And then Lazard being the number 1, he's so young. And then, Watkins has a lot left in the tank, I think, because he just hasn't been utilized as much over the years. And then when Christian Watson comes back in the mix, then that's 5 guys who really can play. And we saw what Rodgers has done with just all kinds of different players. So I don't doubt for a second that Rodgers is going to elevate these guys. I don't doubt that these guys are going to rise to the elevation that Rodgers tries to bring them to. And I really feel like this offense is going to flow. I keep saying not being so Devontae-centric is going to be a huge part of this offense. Rodgers would 17 targets a game, 20 targets a game, and he'd catch over half of them most of the time. But still, how many guys were wide open that he missed because he was focused on Devontae? And how many, scheme guys wide open, and how many times did they just keep running plays for Devontae when if they would have ran a fake to Devontae, or just like a different scheme play, somebody else could have been way open. It's just not being so focused on one guy is going to allow the ball to get spread around, going to not allow the defense to focus in on one player at all, and you'll never know who's going to beat you. It could be guys coming out of the backfield, Jones and Dillon. It could be, Christian Watson streaking down the sideline, or it could be the big tight end down the seam, Tyler Davis, or the receivers, Watkins and Amari Rogers streaking across the middle. I even like him. We haven't heard much about him. I think he's a raw guy. He's going to take some time to develop, but he's still a big guy too. So just a lot to watch when it comes to what Romeo Doubs opens up for other guys, what he does for Rodgers, what he does for Lazard. If there's a guy that can take some pressure off of the run game, and a guy that can take some pressure off of some of the other receivers because he is stepping up and making plays, that just allows everybody else that little extra second, because they got to pay overly attention to Doubs and not checking out the guy coming out of the backfield. So very exciting. Still day 4. I get it. But all you can do is base what you feel on what you see, and this is what I see. So pretty awesome. Like I said, Doubs was blocking for Aaron Jones. Jones, he comes into camp. The guy just is so solid, so consistent, year in, year out. I think he's going into his 6th season now, and he's just really, he looks fast, he looks crisp, he looks sharp, catching passes, running routes out of the backfield. He just looks really good. And he's not a big showboater. He's not all this loud talk and stuff either. He is about his business. I love the fact that he comes from the military background with, everybody knows the story with his father and everything. And he's just, I always thought he was a really good kid, a really good guy. He shows up on the field. For a guy like him to have 4 touchdown games coming out of a 5th-round pick out of UTEP, it's just like mind-blowing, that he has translated into what he has. And it just shows that, you work hard, you get the right system, and you stay focused. I mean, obviously a little bit of it is you got to have the talent, but you're not to this point unless you have some talent. So I love what Aaron Jones does. I look for him and A.J. Dillon to each have at least 1,000 yards rushing, and that puts us over 2,000 yards as a collective tandem. and I look for them both to have a lot of reception yards as well. So, with all that being said, there's a lot of offense here. There's a lot of offense. Offense is not going to be an issue. Everybody wants to make it sound like, oh, we don't have any receivers, we don't have this, we don't have that. People are going to be surprised. The offensive line is going to be stout. Running backs are going to be great. Defense is going to be so stout that, I mean, if you get an extra 2-3 possessions a game because of your defense, you know, if you score 1 or 2, and then you get the half. I mean, there's a lot of situations and scenarios where this Packers team can really excel past the competition just because of the talent on all different levels and both sides of the ball, and it's just very exciting to watch because, you know, Jones is so good, Dillon is so good, but together they're great. And then just having Rodgers, I mean, he looks so amazing. He's pinpoint accurate. He's on the money. You know, he's moving well. He's reading things perfectly. He's got his guys, teaching his guys, telling them what to do, how he wants things, and really excited just to see how it all translates and how it all comes into motion, once they get out on the field for, actual games, even preseason, but, week 1 is where it all matters finally. So, today we saw David Bakhtiari working outside with the rehab group for the first time. Everybody wanted to say that he was done, he's cooked, all this stuff, and I, been around the league long enough to know that these teams move on from guys quickly when they know they are done. When they know that they're finished, they're not going to wait around and see. These medical professionals, the doctors, the teams, they know all this stuff. They're way ahead of everything. They know that Bach has been out for 20 months. They know that he had a setback during the offseason and that he had fluid buildup in his knee after that Detroit game, and it wasn't ideal. That's why he didn't play against San Fran. I was so irritated that they put him in for that Lions game, but they wanted to see how it would work. It built up fluid, and then the guy had to sit for the San Fran game. But, it probably wouldn't have mattered that much anyway. However, seeing him outside working with the rehab group for the first time shows that he is probably on the right trajectory at least. And I look forward to having him back and Elgton Jenkins back, because Jenkins was running with the rehab group. So, like I said, I think it's just precautionary, bringing these guys on slow. They're veterans in this league. They know what they need to do. They know what it's going to take to be ready for week 1, and they're just kind of bringing them on. He doesn't really need the one-on-one snaps against J.J. and Agbar, or Jonathan Garvin. Box probably got it covered. I hope that he can get at least back up to 80-90% of his old self. If he does that, he will still be an elite left tackle in this league. If he does have movement issues, I just don't want to see him get hurt again, and so that's something that the Packers are going to have to watch out for. If he does come back and he looks like he's 100%, then I just say run with it, because with him and Jenkins, and then with these young guys coming in, I really think this offensive line can be super solid. Another guy who is coming off injury who looks good, another ACL, Kylan Hill. Looks really, really good. His cuts, his running, pass catch, just his fluidity. He's just moving so well. And coming off an ACL, he got hurt that Arizona Cardinals game. Okay, that was October 29th in Arizona. The same game that Bobby Tonyan got hurt on a pass play, and then Kylan Hill was returning a kickoff that he shouldn't have taken out of the end zone, should not have, and he got hit in the knee, and it buckled, and it tore, and he was done. But that was October 29th, so we're not even a year out, let alone, it's about 10 months out, 8 months out, so 9 months out. That's so fast. That's mind-blowing that he's back. Obviously, like I said, that's the game we lost Tonyan, and the game that Rasul Douglas picked off Kyler Murray at the end to win it, but Kylan got hurt that game. Obviously, he was a rookie last year. He wasn't talked about a whole lot. It was on a kickoff. It wasn't on a run. It wasn't a running back play. So might have got overlooked by a lot of people, but a guy like him, he's got a lot of talent. He's kind of like the Aaron Jones body type kind of skill set where he's really got, a lot of quick movements, and he can get upfield, catch passes. I really like Kylan Hill coming out last year. It was such a bummer to see him get hurt because he hadn't really got into the offense a whole lot. And then, Patrick Taylor did get into the offense a little bit over the course of the season, but those probably would have been Kylan Hill's carries, and it would have been nice to see him. But to see him back out there really doing what running backs do with the cuts and the running and everything is really amazing. These guys are just freak athletes, and it just blows my mind that that injuries that, really were a year-long guaranteed, if not longer, if the guys were bigger and all these things, and some guys just never came back. Kajana Carter tore his knee up and he was done, and there's just a lot of, that's a long time ago. Super long time ago, you guys, but there's plenty of guys who have torn their knees over the years. I'm sure you could go through lists and lists of them. List them in the comments if you want to, all the guys that tore their knee. But Kylan Hill should be back, and there's guys that are probably going to take over the kick returner responsibility so he doesn't do it anymore. But it's nice to have a guy like him come out of the backfield if Jones is tired or needs a spell or something, and it's more of a swing play to a guy like Jones and Hill than it is a play to Dillon. It's nice to have a guy that can rotate and kind of be that guy. So I look for him to come back and just be solid. I like that he's as far ahead as he is right now. And, it's just awesome to see these guys starting to get healthy. That's all that I care about, just progress, because eventually you'll be ready, So the offensive line, obviously we're talking about David Bakhtiari, we're talking about Elgton Jenkins. Offensive line is such an important position when it comes to what the Packers are going to do. Blocking for their $50 million man, Aaron Rodgers, blocking for, Jones and Dillon, and giving Rodgers time to throw it to these guys. So right now, it's kind of a rotational puzzle where they're throwing. I think I said Zach Hansen. His name's Jack Hansen, and so that's the right guard that's kind of been rotating in and out. Royce Newman flops from right guard to right tackle, and so Yash has been going back and forth from left tackle to right tackle, and then they bring in Zach Tom, who I like, and then Cole Van Lanen's been rotating in. So this is what the starting five was today: Zach Tom at left tackle, John Runyon Jr. at left guard, Josh Myers at center, Royce Newman at right guard, and Yash Nijman at right tackle. I do like that starting five, how it is. I don't like Newman at the right tackle. I don't like him being outside. That's kind of, I know it's not Rodgers' blind side, but that's a guy that's going to go up against people like Zadarius Smith and, Daniil Hunter and just all those big name outside linebackers. So you want a guy like Yash who's like 6'8" and just can kind of, who played well. Left tackle is tough because that's the blind side. So right tackle, it's a little bit easier. I think Yash will be better at that spot, or better suited at that spot. A guy like Zach Tom, who played left tackle in college at Wake Forest and center, and now he's rotated in. He's played the guard position. Zach Tom is going to be a starting caliber at all five positions. I hope that he is a guy that can just come in right away and start, but I think that he's going to be rotating around different spots. So him and Elgton Jenkins are going to be able to start at all five positions and be Pro Bowl talent at all five positions. And then if Bakhtiari can finally come back, so you could have three guys who are good at left tackle plus Yash, meaning Jenkins, Bakhtiari, and Zach Tom. So left tackle is the hardest. So if you get these guys to be able to play left tackle, you can pretty much put them in any other spot. Left tackle is the blind side of Rodgers, and you got to have him stout. That's why having David Bakhtiari as the best left tackle in football is such a huge blow. So to be able to bring in Tom, John Runyon Jr., his dad played tackle. I don't think his junior is as good of a tackle, but at that left guard in between a guy like Tom or a guy like Bakhtiari and Myers is going to be a great center in this league. Ohio State guy. He's smart. He's physical. He's, he's like Corey Linsley coming out, but Corey Linsley just so elite now. It's going to take some time for Myers to get there. I know the Packers did have an option to take Creed Humphreys last year, the center he plays for Chiefs now, but we took Josh Myers instead, and so Creed actually became one of the better centers in the league, something that we might have missed on. But I think Myers has the potential to be really, really, really good still. And just last year he got hurt, and center is tough. You got to get all the offensive linemen blocking assignments situated, communicate with the quarterback. You're trying to figure out so much. Snap the ball and get your hands up to block. People don't think like that. It's a lot to do, especially for a rookie, especially with the speed of the game coming at you. I think it's going to slow down for Josh. I think he's going to be really a good center in this league. Royce Newman, like I said, I don't like him at right tackle. Right guard's okay. I do like him there. If that's where he ends up, that'll be fine. I do not like him at tackle, just like I don't like Runyon Jr. at tackle. We need to make sure that other guys can come in. But if it's between Royce Newman and Sean Ryan, I don't know why I haven't heard Sean Ryan's name a lot. I really, really liked him coming out. He actually got drafted higher than Zach Tom did, so it's interesting to see that they haven't put him out there. But maybe he's just getting a lot of reps with the twos, and they just want to see how he kind of comes along. But so far, this is the starting five, and then Jack Hansen, not Zach, and Cole Van Lanen have been kind of rotating in and out with the guards as Newman goes to right tackle, Yash goes back to left tackle, Cole Van Lanen will come in at right guard, and then sometimes Jack Hansen will do that too. But we will see. I think no matter what they do, the starting five are going to be good enough. Whether they have Jenkins and Bakhtiari, they'll be good enough. As soon as they get Jenkins back, already increase their, really up their level of talent. And then if they get Bach and Jenkins back, now it really doesn't matter who you put where. I just feel like whoever they end up putting where, if Zach Tom's ready to be a starter at all five positions, whoever they put where is going to be, they're going to exceed expectations and really be able to set up the offense for Rodgers. I'm so excited about what the Packers have done with the draft and how they kind of formulated everything, and the fact that they have so many guys that can play alternate positions and can kind of rotate in and out and flip flop. It used to be one guy per position just played that, and that was it, and that's what he did. And now to have guys that are so versatile, it is really, really a benefit for the Packers, especially with all these injury concerns. Zach Tom looks ready to be a starter at left tackle. He's another late pick by the Packers that is going to be versatile enough to probably play left tackle, probably play right tackle in either guard position, and the guy played center in college. So it's so amazing to have guys like that. But to be left tackle, like I keep saying, is the hardest position for offensive linemen to play, and the one where, if you don't get your block or at least keep your guy at bay for not long enough, your quarterback is facing this way because he's right-handed, so he's looking that way, and your guy's coming from this way. You get what I'm saying? So, you're like this, and the guy's coming. So, you don't see him. So, if Bakhtiari's not the best, Rodgers is always worried. That means that his clock's going off faster than it probably should, and he's escaping the pocket, and obviously Rodgers is good at throwing on the run, but you'd rather him be able to just throw it from where he's standing. So having that left tackle is so important. That's why having guys like a guy like Elkin Jenkins, who we drafted not many years ago, like 3 years ago now, come in and be able to start there to be Pro Bowl talent at, guard and tackle, and then move him into guard whenever Bach's back, and now he can play right tackle too. It's just, it's hard to keep up with all these guys and all their positions and what they can do, because, the Runyon Jr. can play both guards. Newman can play both guards. Yash can play both tackles. Tom can probably play both tackles and center and guard. So, and then Jack Hansen and CVL. It's just so awesome to see this. Tom looks like he could be a starter at left tackle, and that's huge. That means that you have like three guys who are ready to start at that position, and like I said, it's the hardest position. So if they're able to start there, they can pretty much start anywhere else, and that means that you have a pretty damn good offensive line. And, that's where it all starts, in the trenches. So the defense, it has been playing so well these last couple days. Obviously, walkthrough. I said Rajul still got an interception in walkthrough. But the defense has been really tough. The secondary has been like sticky glue all over the receivers. I know I keep saying how Romeo is making some big plays because he has. Jordan Love had a really nice throw today with Romeo. But the defense, the number one defense against Rodgers and company, was all over him today. Jair, shutdown corner, locking down everything on his side. He is the real deal, Holyfield. We knew that. We knew he was going to be great. We knew we missed him. We knew we wanted him back. But until you see what he can actually do, you forget or you don't really think it's going to be the same as it was. And this guy is back and he's ready to go, and I cannot wait. The last time we really saw him go crazy was that NFC Championship game against Tom Brady when he had 2 interceptions in the second half, and we still lost. So, I just love Jair. I thought he was great coming out of Louisville. I just, always watched Lamar at Louisville, so was able to see Jair there too, and he's just really he's just really good, and I just really like to watch him. So I'm super excited about that. Our defense being able to be all over Rodgers. I mean, Adrian Amos today was all over on coverage. Preston Smith kept putting pressure on. Even Tipa Galai was putting pressure on today. And, JJ Enegbar, he shows flashes. He keeps showing these flashes, and then he does something crazy, kind of dumb, but he's so young, and he's just showing these flashes, and I just really think that he can be something. I liked him coming out. He was playing against big competition when he went to South Carolina. He's playing against really top-end competition. And so I just liked the flashes I saw. I think he probably is the guy who started playing football later on in life, and he, he's just so raw still. So I'm excited to see what he does. Just something to watch for. That's Kingsley Enagbare. He wants to be called JJ, so I keep calling him JJ, so don't get confused about that. It is JJ Enagbare. Or Kingsley Enagbare as JJ Enagbare. And so, on defense, like I said, Quay Walker, he looks like he's going to be the real deal. He's 6'3", 240, runs a 4.3 or 4.5, and he's just so fluid, so quick. He's just sideline to sideline. He said I have to prove on everything, which you love to hear from a guy. You don't want these young guys thinking that they know everything or they got it all figured out yet or any of that. And a lot of these guys want to be cocky and be like, yeah, I got it. But he's just like, no, I got a lot to learn. I want to get better at everything. But that's the mark of a guy who knows that he's figuring it out and he's getting it. But you still like to see that hunger in him and the fact that he wants to learn. He's learning next to Devondre Campbell, who's probably one of the better teachers, quiet motivators, just come in and do your work, watch what I do type of guys in the league. He was overlooked for many years, many teams just bopping around situations. Nobody really gave Campbell the time or the look that he should have gotten. And when he played for the Falcons, and he was all over the league a little bit by the Cardinals, I think, and so he didn't really get the chance to be the main guy, the focal point of the the quarterback of that defense. And now with the Packers, he comes in and he just has an all-pro season. Even though he's ranked like 10th or not even 10th on some of the PFF stuff for middle linebackers, he was all-pro last year. So I don't care what any of that stuff says. Dude is the real deal, and Quay Walker has the chance to learn from him. And like I said, I keep saying they're basically the same guy, 6'3", and run the same pretty much 4.5, and I think Cam was actually faster than Walker, but no one would think that watching him. So, and another guy, Rashaan Gary. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for them to unleash Bane. I love that he takes on that persona. I love the fact that he came in as a first or number one recruit out of high school, went to Michigan, kind of just showed flashes, but never was the guy. Was never a every down player, but he'd throw him in on a pat, and he'd make flashes. You could see that 6'4", 280 way he could bend and move, and his quickness he's just a freak of nature, a freak athlete, and being able to watch Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, although Zadarius left for the Vikings and was kind of ruined on his departure, I still like the way that he taught him how to be a Packer. Gary showed up to the non-obligated OTAs and stuff, the voluntary ones. So he showed up for that just to show that the young Packers, like, hey, this is how we do things here in Green Bay. This is what we do. This is how we do it. If you're going to be, one of the leaders on this team, this is how you have to behave. This is how you have to act. So I love that, especially from the guy who's still young himself, to want to be that role model. Just shows the Packers way is the real deal. It really is something that these guys take pride in. The history and everything is something that is important to them. So I love that Gary did that. But his play on the field is what we're all going to be talking about this year. He has crazy talent. He sat behind Preston and Z for a year or two there, and then last year was Z out a lot of it. He got a lot of snaps and everything. He was out there a lot, and that was his first real action, his real first team action that he was the guy. And so I think he learned a lot from last year, and then these guys have such crazy physical workout regimens that they can transform their bodies so much, lean up, quicken up, strengthen up, gain muscle, or do all these things in an off season, where I think he kind of figured out what he needs, what he needed to do, what he needed to fix, what he needed to change, how he wants to go about this new season, approach everything, and he's ready to come out and be a terror. I keep saying 15 sacks is my prediction, if not more, but at least 15. Gary looks like the guy that we all know he's going to be this year. So explosive, just looks super dominant, and I just can't wait to see what he does. Preston Smith is so inconsistent. Although he makes it to every game pretty much, I think he's only missed one in his 8-year career. His play on the field is so inconsistent that we need a guy like Gary to come in and just be wreaking havoc every single play. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Let's see what we got. Punting. So we all remember Corey Bojorquez from our own, whatever it was, 7-yard line, I'm just guessing. Caught the punt, was going down to punt it, and blocked off his foot into the end zone and goes, recovered by the Niners. Touchdown. It is now 10-10 after the Packers were up 10-3 for pretty much the whole game. We hadn't scored a touchdown since the first quarter, and since the second quarter when Mercedes Lewis fumbled on that drive that we looked like we were going to score, we hadn't done jack since then. And so when Corey Bojorquez gets blocked, I was trying to put Corey and Bojorquez in the same word. When Corey gets blocked and they tie it, it's not all Corey's fault, I get it, but mostly it was blocking. But on a play like that, you got to figure something out. I don't care what you do, you can't get it blocked and have it go in the end zone. I don't know what it means you got to do, but whatever it is, you do that. So, I don't know what it sucks because he kind of got the scapegoat for it. Obviously, there's other guys on that. The defense or the special teams coach got fired, and it was a big thing because they actually had a field goal blocked before the end of the half too. So that cannot happen. Bojorquez was kind of just a holdover. We got rid of J.K. Scott during the course of the year last year, and a guy who we had drafted and brought in out of Alabama, a big kid, tall kid, skinny kid. He was real skinny, looked like he was 10, but he was tall and had a leg in college, but it didn't really translate to the NFL. So we brought in Corey, who had punted at the Rams, I think, in the Buffalo a little bit, but now Packers got him, and then he did okay. I liked him. I liked how he kicked. I liked how he played. He did well, and so after that, I don't think he liked it here. I think he didn't like kicking in the cold. I'm sure a lot of guys don't, and I just don't think he liked Green Bay itself. So we let him go, and the Bears' longtime punter, Pat O'Donnell, was available. So we brought him in, and Pat has so much experience kicking in cold weather, kicking at Soldier Field, kicking in the wind. I think I heard a stat where it was like if it's under 30 degrees or something, he has like a 40-yard average or something crazy like that. So, it's good to know that a guy's going to come in when it gets cold and when push comes to shove and you need a punt, he's not going to shank it 15 yards at when you're at your own 15. He's going to get you a 40-yarder that'll probably have a 4-second hang time or so, and they'll get it around the midfield, and it will save you, 35 yards, 25 to 35 yards of field position, depending on all that. So it's just, Pat's been doing really well. I think he only had one punt today that was under 4-second hang time, and he averaged like a 4.3 or so. So he's right where you want to be. Just the consistency. I mean, I guess Corey and JK sometimes would boom an 80-yarder, but it doesn't matter if you're shanking the next 5, you know what I mean? So just the guy that can, we don't need 80s if he's just constantly 40s, and sometimes you boom a nice little 50, 60-yarder depending on the bounce, but it's just nice to have a guy that's been in the league, knows how to kick in cold weather, has been around, is probably would have still got that kick blocked last year because of the punt block coverage, but at least it's a guy who would have done probably more if he could to get out of that situation. I don't know. I always think that there's something that could have been done. That's just me. But I do really like Pat O'Donnell. I liked him for the Bears. He's just a solid punter. I always thought, this guy can punt. So happy that he's on our team now. And so, yeah, the guy that he was punting to was Romeo Doubs. But Rico Gafford, this guy, I talked about him in the video of day 3 of training camp. And so he went from wide receiver to cornerback, but the guy looks like he could still play wide receiver. His speed is just ridiculous. He was on every single special teams formation, field goal block, field goal cover, or field goal, kick coverage, kick return. He was actually the kick returner. Punt return, I know they had Doubs doing some punt returns, but I think Gafford's actually got the inside spot for punt return as well. I know they had Amari Rogers last year. He just didn't perform. He just didn't do anything. And that's why I haven't heard much about Rodgers. I heard some, here and there, a few good pass receptions, but otherwise, these other young guys are really coming along. Amari Rogers has not really taken that step. I kept hearing in the camps in off-season that he was trying to take that next step. He had 4 catches the last year. I don't see him really bouncing back. I hope he does, but I just think these young guys are just going to leapfrog him right away. And his only real chance would be on special teams. And if a guy like Rico Gafford is going to be taking over that spot, then where does that leave Amari Rogers? I really do not know. Gafford, I remember hearing Gafford's name as a cornerback last year. I just like the guy. I don't know much about him. His blazing speed is something that you cannot teach. He's 5'10", 184 pounds. He was a little guy, but out of Wyoming, undrafted in 2018. So I mean, it's a guy that you probably wouldn't think. I know that Amari Rogers is not much taller than he is. No, he's not. No, he's shorter than he is. Not much shorter than he is, but this guy's not much taller. He's 5'10". I think Amari is 5'9". So it's not even that big of a difference. But if this guy's that much faster and is available on like gunner and punt gunner and kickoff, those things, that adds a lot of value, especially if they can trust you returning kicks and returning punts. Punts so much more of a risk because if you don't call the fair catch, you can really take some big hits. You got to be able to catch it while guys are running at you. You got to be able to catch it with crazy winds. Kickoff's a lot easier to field, a lot less pressure to field, all those things. So kickoff return is a lot less of a spot that you have to focus on having the right guy in. Punt return, you just really need to have the right guy. You also don't want to put a guy like Doubs out there if he is your best receiver and have him get hurt or something. So it's something to watch for. If you could throw a guy like Gafford out there and not have to sacrifice Doubs, that'd be great. So we'll see how this was kind of like the first of some of that real live punt return action, and obviously they don't do a lot of that full speed stuff, but it's just nice to see where the guys line up, who's where, how they kind of have it set up. On a field goal block, they actually had the whole first team defense out there, which I thought was an interesting way to run it. A lot of times, you see all kinds of different players on that kick field goal block. So It's an interesting. It is. You think, well, those are the best guys. If they do run some sort of fake, at least you won't be caught off guard. For the most part, you should almost always do field goal kind of coverage. You rush your guys to kind of put pressure on the kick just so that they don't sit there for an hour and kick it. But you always want to be watching out for those fakes, especially at the 30 when they have to kick it. I mean, most teams aren't doing that. But if you play Madden, team guys do that fake field goal from the 30. So something to think about. It's kind of funny that they use their real first-team defense, but I think they've had so many special teams issues when it comes to all different phases of special teams that they just want to get the best guys out there who are going to do their job, do it right, and not make mistakes. The only issue is you worry about injuries when it comes to special teams and first-team guys. So, so that's the first weekend of training camp. I can't believe it. That means that August starts tomorrow. The next day, Monday. So, and that means that the Packers will be back at camp Monday, like the first, second, and the fourth, which is great. And we have 1 month until the season starts. I know it starts at the 11th, but Packers have their first preseason game August 12th, I believe. The first real preseason game is the Hall of Fame game August 4th. So that is this week, you guys. This week. So I cannot be more excited. The injury news we heard this week too. I mean, I think I mentioned it a little bit yesterday, but Micah Hyde, ex-Packer safety for the Buffalo Bills, got carted off the field. He's likely out. Taysom Hill was quarterback for the Saints. Now it's kind of the H-back. I don't really know what position technically he is for the Saints. He's out indefinitely with a rib injury. Kyler Fackrell is on IR. And if you hit IR at this point of the season, you're done for the season. I'm pretty sure that's how this works. I think if he could wait for a little while longer, he could have been eligible to come back. That means that they know it's a serious injury with Kyler. And then Lucas Patrick, like I had mentioned before, he's out too. Offensive lineman for the Bears, who just signed like a 2-year, $8 million contract with the Bears. He went down, and that's why it's so crazy important that guys like Zach Tom and Elkin Jenkins, but just guys that are so versatile. You have a guy like Lucas Patrick who played for the Packers, who we were going to pay, but he went to Chicago anyway, who probably would have been battling for a starting job with the Packers. But you bring in guys like Tom and Yash and CVL and Jack Hansen, not Zach, and you don't need a guy like Patrick, and it sucks that he got hurt, but those are just notable ex-Packers around the league that are injured, and it just shows how dangerous these practices and walkthroughs, and I don't think anybody got hurt during a walkthrough. It's mostly just the practices, but just shows how dangerous they can be, how dangerous they are, how these players really have to be prepared, have to be ready for anything, and even as safe as they try to be, stuff still happens. So we hope they all heal quickly and we see them out on the field as soon as possible. You just hate to see injuries at all in any respect, at any level, on any team. I want the Packers to win, but I want them to just go out there and kick the best team's butt fair and square. So that's how it is. But we pray for a quick and healthy recovery for those guys. And that's such a bummer because those are all. I mean, Micah Hyde's Pro Bowl player. Taysom Hill has kind of had his ups and downs, but Patrick was trying to make a new career for himself in Chicago, and Fackrell had that 10-sack season with the Packers, which was so fluky. I think he had 2 or 3.5 sack games or something that year, something crazy like that. But just to see those guys get hurt is really a bummer. But that's day 4 for the Packers training camp. I could not be more excited. Like I said a million times already, there's just so much to watch, so much to look for. Obviously, Rodgers is just elite. Watching Jordan Love kind of come on, watching these young rookies come on, watching this offensive line formulate, watching the D-line kind of figure itself out, watching these linebackers get elite, and then watching this secondary become a no-fly zone. It's been such an awesome offseason so far. Pray no injuries. I just got to say it because, we just it's part of the game, but we just really hope there are none. And so far, so good on that front. I look for Doubs and other guys to really start excelling these next couple of practices. Like I said, it's the first, the second, and the fourth. They will be public practice again. So we'll be back in a couple days. Peace out, guys. Later.